Hey everyone, this is Eric B. Horn, founder of Eric B. Horn Incorporated, which is a career management and professional development firm. And I'm here with Nissar. And what we're going to do, the gist of this the gist of this video vlog is to give you some tangible career tips on what you can do to empower your career. In previous episodes, we talked about having the right mindset or some tangible things that you can do to empower yourself when it comes to your career, or just knowing your overall why on what you want to do within your career. However, today's episode is kind of piggybacking off of the mindset concept. And it's about once you do develop the right mindset, and I know that takes time, effort, and energy, what specific actions, or to be even more specific, you have to take massive action when it comes to the goals that you want to achieve. It's okay for you to say, okay, I got the right mindset and I'm just going to wait for things to come to me. That doesn't work. Actually, it's never worked. Anyone who's highly successful, whether they're a business owner or an athlete or anyone who wants to be successful, once they develop the mindset, the actions that they take is very, very critical. But before we get into that, I also wanted Nissar to introduce himself and give his perception of, taking massive action.
Hi, everyone. As Eric mentioned, my name is Nissar Ahamed. I am the founder and the managing editor of the career publishing platform called CareerMetis.com, where we, myself and authors from around the world, share ideas, tips for job seekers and freelancers to take their career to the next level. I'm also the host of the Career Metis podcast. And as Eric said, for the last few episodes, we have been talking about different topics. We talked about the importance of career management. We talked about what you need to do. In the last episode, Eric mentioned something about mindset. Yes, it is important to have, but if you don't take massive action, you will not, it's hard to attain the level of success you want in your job or your career. And I must tell you, I consider myself an action nerd. I always talk about action. The closest people who know me think I'm some type of an action nut. They always ask me, hey, do you not have a life? You're always doing something. Because I love it. I love taking action. I think it has an immediate effect. But Eric, I'll start off by telling what I mean by massive action. And before we get into individual stories, I think it's good to give a definition. So my definition of massive action it's very simple. I think it's a self-explanatory term. Massive action means no matter what you do, if you take a tremendous amount of action on that particular thing that you're focusing on, you will quickly eliminate your competition. You will be able to make yourself stand out. You will be able to reach where you want to be very quick. One of my favorite authors, his name is Grant Cardone. He says that a lot of people underestimate the amount of time and underestimate the amount of effort it takes to get something, anything. And let's say a classic scenario is like weight loss. Everyone thinks about exercise and fitness, but we all have tried a program. We signed up for that 30-day program or the diet for 7 days, and it did not work out. But those who have successfully done it, they have found out that it takes a lot of action. It takes much more time. But if they do it, they're going to be successful in whatever they choose to be. So that's my definition of massive action. Eric, I wanted to hear your thoughts. It sounded like last time when we spoke about this, you were excited about this topic. So I wanted to hear, what does that mean to you?
Oh yeah, and even before I get started, I love the eliminate the competition. I mean, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you are a bad person. This is a highly competitive, regardless of what you do, whether you're in tennis, whether you're in career management, whether you're a doctor, lawyer, dentist, student, or whatever, there's competition out there. There are people out there who want to be the best. You're not just the type of person to say, okay, I'm going to be the best in the world. without someone wanting your spot. And also, you talked about Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone, he's the one, like a pillar of someone who takes massive action, because Grant Cardone, he's an entrepreneur. He's in real estate, but his main thing was beating people to the punch. He doesn't. He claims not to be the smartest person
Yeah.
in the room, but based off of the massive action that him and his team takes when it comes to being successful, it puts him in. He's a multimillionaire. Long
Yeah.
story short, and
Yeah.
you do not become, for the viewers out there who want to make a lot of money in the millions or the hundreds of millions, you can't be lazy. You're going to have to take massive action. But specifically for me, one of the biggest, you know, moments of transparency for me when it comes to taking massive action, the university that I graduated from, which was Chicago State University, it was a very good school. However, when it comes to, you have most people, when you have your degree, whether it's your bachelor's, your master's, or your doctorate, 9 times out of 10, someone's going to ask you what school you went to.
Mm.
And when it came to Chicago State University, once again, for me, it was a very good school. But when it comes to the Yales and the Harvards and the Stanfords, it's clearly on another level, especially from a perception standpoint, right? And I'm the type of person where I take massive action in any and everything that I do. But more importantly, I took a tremendous amount of mass action because I knew for a fact that with me graduating from Chicago State University and competing, there's that word again, competing with graduates from Yale and Harvard and Stanford, I knew I was the underdog. Once again, not taking anything away from who I am as an individual, but once again, from a perception standpoint, you have more people that would know about a Yale graduate or a Harvard graduate than a Chicago State University graduate. But with me knowing that, it put me in a mindset, and if you want to know about mindset, is one in our previous episodes, I had the mindset to work 4 to 5 times harder than them. That will put me on a level playing field. And once I developed that mindset and start to take that massive action, not only did I beat in other individuals from a Yale or Harvard, but I was lapping circles around them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying this for, if anyone who's a Ivy League student, I'm not saying this is for everyone, but the individuals that I came across, I mean, they're good friends now, but when I initially met them, they had the mindset that they really didn't have to work that hard because of the school that they graduated from, which
Mm.
makes sense. I mean, you're putting, these schools are very prestigious and you pay a lot, you make a huge investment, you know. So once someone hears that you're from these schools, it puts you in a different category. But for me, I wasn't going to let that scare me. It put me in a position to say, okay, let me see what these guys are doing and let me quadruple that effort. And me quadrupling that effort has put me in a position where I've gotten business deals that they thought they could have gotten. It's put me in rooms with other individuals that I wouldn't say they felt like I didn't deserve to be in the room, but they definitely felt that just based off of the school that they went to, they
Mm-hmm.
automatically get in that room and get in those circles. So, you know, massive action for me puts me from an underdog to the dog that's actually leading the pack. So it's very, very important, very, very near and dear to me that in any and everything that I do, whether it's a video blog or even when it comes to being a husband and a father, massive action will definitely massive action will always put me in a very good position as opposed to just relying on a certain attribute and kind of sitting back and waiting things to happen, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and thanks for sharing the personal story because it makes that concept relatable, right? Otherwise, people will think, oh, this is two guys talking about massive action.
Right.
Do they walk the talk, right? So that's always good. So I wanted to share a couple of very quick stories.
Okay.
Number one, because this is about career management, I wanted to show you an example where I think this happened to be a few times, but I think this was back in 2013. Um, I had a business at that time and it didn't work out. So I decided to go back to the workforce and I wanted to get into the technology space in sales. And so basically I decided uh, I'm going to do the traditional method. There are so many different ways to get a job. You can pick up the phone, call someone, referrals, networking, job fairs, which
Right.
I'm sure we'll talk about. I decided, you know what? I have all this time in the for the next month. I'm going to focus on getting a job. So I made that my full time job, and that's exactly what I did. I made that my full time job of getting a job. Applied, done tons of research, learned a lot about industries that I did not know, applied like a madman. I'm not exaggerating. When I even wrote a blog post a couple of years ago where I said I applied to about 100 jobs, got a lot of
Wow.
replies and interviews, and lucky enough, by the end of 30 to 40 days I got a job offer. And so that actually proved to myself, you know what, no matter what happens, if I take massive action, um, especially a lot of people who just graduated today, this the last 2 months from university, they're unemployed. Trust me, even if you decide to not do anything different, and just keep simple, and even if you use the old school methodology of applying for jobs, if you take massive action, uh, I can share my story, and the people that I've shared this story, they've used it themselves. You will be able to start your career. It's guaranteed. I'm telling you. I mean, it may not happen in 30 days. It'll happen in 60 days, but it's better than waiting for 6 months and you graduated with a degree in something and going back and working in something that you're not. So that's one story. Another story, Eric, I want to share is, I introduced myself as my publishing platform, careermetis.com. Most people, when they start a platform, they invest a lot of money, ads. I didn't have anything. So all I did was write. And then once I started writing, I started reaching out to a lot of authors, following up with them. So when I was just writing by myself, it took me about a year to get to about 100 articles. Then I decided to expand this to a platform. I'm not exaggerating. From that point, like last February to last week, I've sent out about 1,000 outbound emails. As a result, I now have about 400 authors, and we have published as a group more than 1,200 articles. And that's how we came to know each other. So massive action. If you don't have the money, if you don't have the funds, um, you know, it's a cure. It's like a cure. It's like if you take, some people call it hustle. We call it massive action. It cures all your problems, your financial problems, your family problems, your job problems. It's not even about, don't look at it as a thing to get results. Think of it as an amazing problem solving tool.
That's wow. And I didn't that last story. I didn't even know, to the point where most people, when it comes to starting a online platform, right? They expect traffic just to organically come to their site. And one of the things that I heard, which is a lesson for me, you in the beginning you took this on yourself,
Mm-hmm.
but then you came to the understanding that, which I still have a problem with, if we want to be transparent. Well, I'm working on it. Is you reached out to people and you asked for help. You asked for people to contribute to the site. And now, if I'm hearing this correctly, now you have 400 authors that have contributed to this site.
Mm-hmm.
That is amazing, because a lot of people who are in upper management, needs to hear something like this, because you looked at it like, this is bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
I need to, bring in people to help me with this. And I'm pretty sure that you didn't even think that it was going to grow to 400, which is great. And it's still growing,
Yeah.
it's still a massive thing that you
Yeah.
are leading. And right, the massive, a collaborative effort plus massive action creates, you know, great results, and that story is 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 huge, and I commend you on that, especially like asking for help.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you've created a network of contributors, that any event that something I don't think you know how huge this is, because I'm looking at it from the outside looking in, and it's 400 authors. These are 400 individuals that you have a community in a
Mm-hmm.
sense, and your community, and there's no telling how it's like ants. An ant can't move a crumb of something, but you have hundreds of ants that can easily move something from one space to the next. Not comparing you guys to ants, of course, but just the overall concept of that.
Yeah.
That's huge, and that is a true definition of massive action, because you went from 1 to 400. That's 401, because we're working together. So
Hey,
that's great.
hey, thank you very much. I'm humbled by your feedback. And speaking of us working together, that was one of 1,000 emails, right? Reached out to you and look at this. You're doing this exciting project.
Right.
So that before we wrap up, I think you gave me a topic for our next segment is asking for help, because because hey, I don't want to be, I think most men, I'll admit, different depending on your culture, we have a problem with asking for help,
Yep.
right? And I come from the other part of the world. I was born in India. It's not a cultural thing. Or even in North America, asking for help, there's a sense of a fake sense of weakness. And you just gave me an idea, which I think we can talk about for hours, is no matter where you are, if you're a brand new student who just graduated, or someone who's 50 years old, got laid off, why asking for help is a great tool. Actually, it should be a way of life.
Let me write that down. It's a way of life. Yeah, because I'll definitely let you, definitely lead that one, because, I can speak on my experiences and how it's kind of crippled me when it came to certain pieces in my career, because I didn't know how to ask for help. But I mean, we can definitely uh, talk more into that in the next episode.
Okay. Before we wrap up, Eric, I just wanted to maybe a summary for massive action. When I think of massive action, I think about um, I love the ants analogy, right? They work really hard to survive. And if you're starting a business or career and you're in the initial stages, think of this as survival. Your career, for one moment, separate yourself from your career. And for your career to survive and thrive, you have to take massive action. So I love the ant analogy. I'm sure we'll talk more about that as we continue this webisode series. But that's one way I would say massive action. It is crucial. It's crucial for your survival. Speaking of survival, you and I are talking. There's a massive action of things happening in our bodies, from our brain to the nervous system. To I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but we all know so many things happening without our control or without us thinking about it. Just for me to sit down in this chair and talking to you, every cell in my body is taking massive action. So it is a survival mechanism. Like I'm telling you, I'm not a doctor, but that's very simple science. That's you need massive action. Forget about winning. I think it's a survival thing you need to have for anything.
Definitely. And on that note, we'll definitely see you guys on the next episode. You have a good one, guys.
Have a good one, guys.